Philosophical naturalism claims that the universe does not require any supernatural cause, conservation, or government. It is said that we are just plain organism living in an ordinary and passing ecosystem. Kanang gatuo tag special taw niya, dili di ay. Ouch! It declares that the world is self-existent, is incapable of its own direction. It believed that this world is strong and independent one, while sana all strong and independent. There is no need to rely on other entities. Some versions of naturalism insist that there is no true purposiveness working in the world, and that even the appearance of man in the course of evolution was completely a gratuitous incident. It does not believe in destiny or fate, and that our existence is just another evolution of a certain species. This philosophical view neglects the idea of a supreme being and believed that the world exists based on science, and it strongly believed that all things are made up of just atoms and molecules that are just constantly moving. It does not recognize any religious belief to be the basis of our existence. Solely, it relies on scientific facts. Naturalistic ethics is a moral theory that considers ethics to be essentially as empirical science of human conduct, value, and obligation. The word empirical means precisely that the naturalistic moralist seeks to base his claims on relevant findings on the behavioral sciences and the natural sciences. Charles Darwin's Origin of Species in 1859 provided considerable stimulation to the perspective of naturalism. The naturalistic ethics revolves around the idea of Darwin himself, who proposed the theory of biological evolution by natural selection. The evolution, defined by Darwin as a descent with modification, the idea that species change over time, gave rise to new species and share a common ancestor. A classic example is giraffe, because before it was believed to have short necks, due to change in environment, the trees have grown taller, so over time giraffe also developed long necks, and those who don't, dies. From this principle, some philosophers concluded that the survival of the fittest species by natural selection is a scientific fact that makes the presence of a provident and conserving God no longer necessary. As what I have mentioned earlier, Darwinian theory does not really believe in God because they believe that science can explain all matters, especially to this day. And it also doesn't matter if you agree or not because it is theory, and so far no one has ever really debunked this theory up to this date, which proves its credibility. Well, there are some who oppose to this idea because they are in conflict with the existence of a supreme being, but they never really disproved this one. And since Darwin saw nature as tooth and claw, Dewey stressed the risk that man takes, and for him to use his intelligence to the utmost. Because we are the fittest species who survived from the brutal past, laban lang, fighting.
So the two philosophical sciences in the area of ethics. So there are two philosophical sciences in the area of ethics. And these are two, and the first one is the metaphysics. So metaphysics is relevant to all aspects of philosophic enterprise. So it's a theme centered on the basic question of what to be exist. So and involves in being where reality as causality, change, and contingency. So foundation of being was seen to be the existence of God. So the metaphysics is the first philosophical sciences in the area of ethics. And the second one is the philosophy of man. So what is philosophy of man? So philosophy of man is a central issues of man as the question of unity in being, spiritual nature, destiny, and character of knowledge. So these are two philosophical sciences in the area of ethics. And these are two metaphysics and the philosophy. So ethics. So what is ethics? So I will explain to you or discuss to you or what is ethics. So ethics is a practical philosophical study that seeks to find some principle of order to those human actions for which we are freely responsible and which we have rational control. So these are I have two examples here to discuss to you or to tell you that I have two examples of a bug of ethics. So the first example is deliberate actions are opposed to countries other acts of men. So the second one is our own actions, but that are controlled automatically and without need of any choice or direction on our part. So this is my part. So I will discuss about the two philosophical sciences in the area of ethics. So the first is metaphysics, and the second one is the philosophy of man. So, and the satisfactory answers to the question is, and metaphysics is what is to be, and the philosophy of man is what is to be a man. So
Perspective on key issues. Naturalism of John Dewey, where he expressed the naturalistic temper in a classical manner. Man seeks to transact with nature by intelligence. He increases his own value as well as that of nature by the quality of solutions he brings in answers to the felt needs in life. So, it means that human needs nature in a way that they can gather information and ideas by the help of nature. For example, scientists may explore or do experiments of some herbal medicines which could provide something that can help with human beings. They study to find its benefits so that they could discover a value of that particular matter. Next is obligation. A good man is a man who, no matter how morally unworthy he has been, is moving to become better. It says here that, despite all the difficulties and challenges he may face along his journey, he never give up on it, because he sees something significant, which is valuable and worth to deal with. The bad man is the man who, no matter how good he has been, is beginning to deteriorate, to grow less good. On that statement, John Dewey is trying to tell us na masiunsa pa ta ka maayo nga tao, unya nakaagitag bati or wala na to gigusto, dapat remind gyapon ta nga maayo kung unsa ta, obligasyon nato nga dili usabon ang atong kaugalingon. Kay dira nato makita kung dawat ba ta sa laing tao or atong sarili mismo. And aside ana, obligado po ta nga magpakatatag sa atong kaugalingon para i-overcome to nga problema or kato mga bad experiences para nindot ang resulta. Dili siya less good, kundi maayo.
Natural law. That action is lawful that will mitigate the risk and danger of controlling men and society. It would be inadequate to speak of this as a plea of adjustment. It is an active problem-solving of pressing crisis rather, rather than fatalistic submission to what is assumed to be insoluble. Insoluble meaning dili masolbad. So, ang ang natural law, this means to resolve of controlling us men and society that should have the rights to act as a human being based on moral basis. In natural law theory states that all of us is capable of setting up standards of morality based on its nature, like being honest, being responsible enough, respect others, and we must act accordingly because we know what is right and wrong. Our actions must be based on morality. Even if we have freedom, they seek to solve moral problems based on concrete situation in which moral decision must be made. Example of this is divorce or abortion. So first, in abortion, if the parent or the woman is pregnant, that was the result of being raped. So moral decision should be made if she want to continue the baby or she want to abort. It is upon on her decision on what should she choose. The other example of concrete situation is that divorce. In divorce, parents must make a moral decision towards on what will be the path of their children because the most affected one in divorce is children. When their parents will have another family, they will grow older without the presence of his mom or his father. It is very hard to find love from one another when both of your parents are separated. The natural words immediately implies change, process, novelty, and resonant affix, and final norm whose dictates are timeless.
So virtue by Dewey. So Dewey refers it to attitude or meliorism, or simple as it depends on it refers on the good man or bad man. And this meliorism, it can be seen that the supreme good quality to be found in man is the development of those values that reason itself approve. So in his meliorism, he depends on the good quality of the behavior of the man, or the character of a man or girl or woman, that their their values and behavior that can be improvised or developed if they example, if they have wrong decisions in life, or um, wrongdoings that they must be improvised, or they recognize that their doing is bad or good. So it and it can also be viewed in logically or morally. So in that meliorism, they can recognize that their doings is wrong or right. So it depends on them. So and they can also be improve their self and with with their human effort. So middle attitude of meliorism. So it is the ability to struggle little by little to make one's life and the world itself better. So in this middle attitude of meliorism, it it is in between of optimism and pessimism. So it it is the optimism of giving hope or hoping for something that um, their character and their behavior. So they must have the optimism of themselves. For example, when when they are taking something that they need to hope for the result, or or what others say that without failures you can't be success. That one's of example. And the last is the final virtue of sensitivity to the unique character of every moral situation. So in this final virtue of Dewey, it is the kind of recognition of the truth. So it it is in the man's mindset and how he acts on the problem, or how he resolve to the particular problem that they may face. So that in in Dewey's in Dewey's action, in that statement, he depends on he acts on the unique style of character of a person, and there must be uh, there must be a unique style of the result. There must be a positive result or negative result of the that action or problem that they may face. So that's the virtue of the we.